Hi everybody, it's Ellen again. I have another tutorial for you, and this time it is for my Dippy Dot bracelet. Um, I just think it's kind of neat. It's a nice solid band. This one is on 5 pin bars, and you can kind of see the design in the middle. I think it just looks pretty neat. It's pretty easy to make, although we do have to do an extra step, and I guess giving credit where credit is due. This center strip of bands, where the, I guess, little dots are, is technically a confetti bracelet. So we're actually going to make that first, and then we will incorporate it into our design. It was just easiest to do it that way instead of trying to figure out how to loop the bands differently to kind of get that nice little dot look on it. So we will do that, and so we're going to start. I'm just going to make this on 1 loom length, and I'll show how to make it longer. You have to kind of make it longer right away. You don't, unless you want to just make it as long as your loom. I guess I'll show you what I mean by that is that since we make this middle part first, the confetti bracelet, after you've made that, you can fit it on your wrist, and as long as that fits around your wrist, then you know that the bracelet is going to be long enough for you. So I'm going to do 18 dots because that's what I need to get around my wrist. But if it's you need more or less after we've done the confetti, you just wrap it around your wrist and then see if it's long enough. If you have to add more, that's pretty easy to just add a few more dots to that confetti strip. Otherwise, if you need less, you just take a few out. And I'll show you as we extend it to make it long enough how you can easily kind of change the design so that it fits your wrist and you don't have to recalculate too much on how to do that. So, because it is only about 1.5 loom lengths that you need for making this, at least for me, to go all the way around my wrist. But we'll get started. And first we just need to make the little confetti bracelet, I guess. And I'm going to start here. I usually just pick a spot. I guess with my loom, like here's the normal loom setup, and then I just added 2 more off to the side. So that's how the loom's set up for the bracelet. We'll make our confetti on here first. I'm just going to go up 19 bands, and that will give me 18 dots for my bracelet. So I'm just doing a zigzag up so we can do it all on 1 loom length. There we go. So, that many. Then we just need to add our confetti, or the dots, as I'm calling them for this bracelet. Alright, so with the dots, I use 4 bands to make the dots. You don't have to use that many if you want. I just think it looks nice and full that way. And the other thing is that I don't know if it really made a huge difference in the bracelet, but in this one I wrapped 2 around at a time, and in this one I wrapped all 4 around at a time, and it seemed kind of like the one I wrapped all 4 around, it was harder for it to have kind of the flatter shape or not have as many little goofs in it. So I just started taking 2 bands and wrapping it around at a time. So there's 4 bands on the pin, but it's just they're kind of separated a little bit so it's doesn't bunch up as badly. I'm going to do a pattern where I alternate colors up the side. So I'm going to do, because I want 2 colors, I'm going to do black on these pins all the way up, to here. And then on this side, I'm going to do white all the way up to here. So you can, like I said, I need 18, so I can divide it up how I like, I guess, for the coloring, but we just don't want to put any bands on this pin, and then on this one it will be a end cap for the confetti part. So just get those bands on there. It takes a little bit, so, but you certainly can just do all 4 at once, or don't use 4 bands, use 2 or 3. I know having enough bands is always an issue, so this is kind of the slower part, making this, so just really try and remember, if you do 2 bands at a time, try and pay attention to where you are, because I know a couple times when I made it I only put 2 bands on and then moved on and didn't realize it till I was looming. Okay, so I did one side, now I'm just going to do the other side. And even with having 4 bands on the pin, when we loom it, it doesn't seem to be too stressful on your hook. So alright, so that's all the bands on there. So we just don't have anything on here. And then right here, we're going to put an end cap. You can just double band it, doesn't really matter. I'm actually going to cut it out when we attach it to the other bracelet, so it could be just a ugly band you don't like and you want to get rid of. So what we're going to do is come back and turn your loom around and then come back in through the end cap and just start looming. Grab the bottom band and bring it over. It's much easier to see when you don't use the same color for your dots as your base, but it's not too tight. I know everybody's waiting for the new hook to come out, so obviously I'm filming this before the 7th. And if you do feel like it's too tight, just pull the band up a little bit and then grab it with your fingers and pull it over the rest of the way. So that is all of it loomed up. So now you can just stick your hook in here and pull it off. I usually kind of grab the little dots and pull them off instead of relying on pulling the perimeter band, I guess, or the base band, because you might rip it that way. Alright, so that's what it looks like. And if your bands are a little goofy, it's not a big deal. You can fix them later as we go along. It's probably easiest when you're all done with the bracelet so that they kind of have more support. So, but now we're just going to take a C-clip or something. C-clip would be best. And close this. Or in my case, I grabbed an S-clip, so. So now what you're going to do is that you want to customize this to the length of your wrist. And since this is completely off the loom, I mean, this is the stretch that you're going to have. So just take the bracelet and wrap it around your wrist. If it fits and you've got a little bit of extra without pulling it tight, it's going to fit around your wrist. So like I said, I needed 18. You know, if your wrist is bigger, you might be here, so you're going to have to make a couple more dots, reattach this and make it a little bit longer. If it's way over and you have extra, just remove a couple of the dots. That way you can have it to the length that you need it for your wrist. And when I do the other half, like I said, I'll show how to kind of customize the fit so you can get the, you don't have to worry about that I'm going to make something that you're going to have to figure out how to make it long enough for, short enough for you. So, that is the first part. Now we'll go back to the loom, and we're going to start by putting our side bands up. This one it's the blue, and this one it's black. We're just going to go all the way up each side in whatever color you want. So, just start here and go all the way up. The right side, and then you go all the way up the left side. That, and all the way up the other side. Like that. So that is our perimeter side. And then we need to do the next color in, which on this bracelet it's purple, on this one it's black too, so a little bit different. And how we're going to do that is by coming back to here to the beginning, we'll go on the right side first, and just we're going to do a zigzag all the way up. So like this. All the way up this side of the bracelet. Just like that. And we do the same thing up the other side. So there's that. And now we'll go back and to the beginning here, and we got to fill up the middle. So to do that, I'm just going to take and basically we're just going to kind of make a little X, or you can even just zigzag all the way up one side and then come back and do the other side. But I just kind of fill in our little X part here like that. And we're just going to do that all the way up the loom. Doesn't necessarily matter how you lay them, because we're going to put the other bracelet through the middle, and that'll basically create an end cap. So it doesn't matter if you do the left and then the right, or top and then the bottom, just so they have all the bands on the pin. Alright, so like that. Let's push the middle part down here. Now we need to put on our other part here. And I think it's easiest if you turn your loom around now. And because we're looming up this way, so if we extend it, we're going to go up that way more. So on this, I'm actually going to cut off the end cap I put on. And then we have this loop right here where the band was. I'm just going to take that, and I'm going to put it over this first pin like that. And then we basically stretch this. In between these two pins, we put a dot, and we set the bracelet. So when we made the bracelet, this would be the top and this would be the bottom. We're actually turning it on its side to get the effect of the dots. So where we had, if you don't want to cut off your end cap, you can just put the end cap around here too. But I cut off mine, so I wrap that band around here, then get a dot, and wrap the open spot around the pin, dot, open spot on the pin with a dot, and you're just going to do that all the way up the loom. And then I have part of it hanging off because I need more, so I have to extend it. And then I'll just make sure that I got the dots in the right spot here, which they look good. So now what we'll do is we just need to loom out this part of the half of the bracelet. And first we're going to start by going in through our little spot here where we had the where we took off the end cap. So basically the in-between of the dots becomes our end caps for these pins, so we're just going to loom out of them. So go in here and grab whatever band is your top band and pull it back towards itself. And we're just going to do that all the way up. It's not a big deal if you get the dot stuck on the sides, because we can pull it out later. Just don't loom through it, but you get it stuck in there. That's not a big deal. Alright, so you just do this all the way to the end. Like that. So there's the entire middle row done. Now we'll just come back and go through the end caps we created on the sides here and loom out our next layer. So it's going through here and loom these out back towards themselves. Bands are not cooperating with me. Alright, so that's up one side. Now you just have to do the same thing up the other side as well. Alright, like that. So now the entire thing is loomed up in the middle. Now we need to go up the sides. So just come in here and grab these side perimeters and go all the way up. Like that. And come back and do the other side. Alright, so now we have everything loomed up, and we're going to have to take it off to extend it the rest of the way. And to do so, you either need to C-clip these corners where it's open, or you need to get a couple hooks, or whatever works for you to do it. I'm actually going to try the bobby pins again. I had tried, it was a suggestion on one of my videos to use bobby pins because they saw me struggling so much trying to get the C-clips off. I tried doing one bobby pin. That was a failure. I couldn't see in the inside. I just had them all trapped in there. It didn't work very well at all. But two bobby pins, I thought, when I just tried it a minute ago, worked fabulous. Normally I have hundreds of these laying around the house, but I had to actually go buy some because of course you can never find them. So, any of you boys, you'll have to go raid your mom's stuff or your sister's stuff, I guess, so, or grandma's. So I'm closing it with these. So now what we're going to do is just take this off the loom. Yikes. Oops. There's the first half of it, like that. So now we want to extend this the rest of the way. And how we're going to do that is actually we're going to start on this end of the loom to extend it. We're going to lay this middle piece down, however many yours are, as kind of a placeholder to give us an idea of where we need to stop or where we need to start for finishing the bracelet. To do this, we just have the open part right here, so that'll go around the first middle pin. Then you'll have the dot, and then the next open part around the next pin, and just keep doing that until you get all the way to the end here. And I just buried it. And with the C-clip part here, or in my case an S-clip, I'm going to stretch this last little bit over so that the clip is on the other side of this pin, like this. So it's just stretched over. So we just took that first open spot, put it around the pin up here, and then put our dots in between, and then the last part we just had this part sticking over. So now to make this so it's the same as the other side, this is just a placeholder. We're going to actually take it back off in a minute, but like I said, if you have different number of dots needed to get around your wrist, then you'll have to adjust this. But this is how I would start it, I guess. So to make this the same as the other end, my middle is ending here, so across from there I'm going to lay my perimeter color, which was green, or teal, I guess. And I'm just going to lay it all the way up this side of the loom. That's not teal. Like this. And then we'll go and do the same thing across the other side. So teal. Really, those outside perimeter bands. Like that. So we have our perimeter bands on. And now, starting from this pin, we actually just want to lay our middle bands a little differently than how we put them on the first time, so that when we close it, if you want to close it with just one point here, then you'll lay your bands this way. If you don't care about closing it with one point, if you want to have two open points on the side, like when we transferred it, then you don't necessarily have to worry about this. You'll just lay your blue, or the first zigzag around the outside. But I want to just have one point to close on my bracelet. So I'm going to take my middle color, which was the orange. Try to pop that back a little bit. And I'm actually going to take this off just to there. I'm going to put my middle color right here. Like that. And then you'll do your next outside color, which in my case was the blue, and put that one right there. So that way when we loom up from the other side and we come up to this point, I'll be able to actually loom it together. Alright, so now that we have the kind of the outline of how long our bracelet's going to be, and that we can actually take this off again. So again, if you didn't need as many as I did, you won't have it this long. You'll have it, maybe you only need 2 dots, so you'll have the same pattern just shrunk up a little bit. Or if you need it longer, then you'll have it longer. But this is just how I did it, I guess, to extend it the easiest. And obviously if you have the 4 looms or 5 looms to do this, then you wouldn't have to worry about extending it. You could just continue the pattern. So now we're just going to do the zigzag up the side. And we should have on our extended piece the zigzag that goes here, so you won't need to lay that one. Then come to the other side, do the zigzag. Like so. And then we'll lay our middle bands again. And then again, we should have these bands on our extension. So that's for laying the other bands. Now we just need to attach our extension, and to do that I'm going to turn the loom around. And I'm just going to start by laying the middle row on here. So again, that empty spot right around the pin. And then just stretch it down. Like that. And then I'm going to take these nifty bobby pins and pull them apart and stretch it over that pin. Take it and stretch it over this pin like that. So I'm going to take these off carefully. Like that. And then we just need to pull this orange band, or this inside band, up and over there. And then this band over there. Now, I guess for sake of uniformity, you might want to unloop this one. So I'm going to take off my side perimeter band, unloop the next inside my blue, so that row, unloop that one, and just stick this back on here for now. Because we want the blue bands, or this row right here, to be on the complete bottom. So I'm just going to take off what we just put on there, pop that off, pop that one off, and get this blue band underneath. Now you can put the other bands back on. Like so. So now we have this row underneath this row, which is where it should be. Not a huge deal to change, but There isn't too much involved with, I guess, changing it, so you might as well do it. So again, I'm taking off the far outside perimeter, my teal blue, and I can actually, the other way is you can actually just take this band, pop it off, put this back, pull this band out. You go in through the end here, grab that band, you can just completely remove it. And then get it underneath here. Of course, as I do this, I just realized I didn't have to remove it from over here, so I don't know what I was doing there, but then just stick it back on there. So basically just so this outside is underneath the middle, and then so that the this middle filler row is in between your green bands. So it shouldn't show on the outside, and it shouldn't show in the middle that we had any kind of connection at all. So it's like that. So now I'm going to start by looming up the rest of the center here. So go in through your next little spot here and loom these out. And then you'll just do, when you get to this last little part here, you'll just do the bands that come back, because the other ones we'll do when we do the perimeter bands for closing it. So like that. And then we'll come back and do my blue bands here. So in through the end caps we created, and just pull those out, except for this first one here. You're going to want to lift up the outside perimeter band and put that one under so it doesn't show. And you'll do that on the other side too, but I'll point that out again when I get over there. And the same thing when we get here, just leave this one for now. Now we come back here and we want to lift up this band. I don't know why I have such trouble with this side of the loom and getting my bands. Put it over the pin, and then put this back on top. Now you can just loom out the rest of those perimeter bands, except for that last one. Like so. And we'll go up the side. And it looks like I still messed up the banding. Sorry. You'll have this mess up too then, so pop this band off this pin. and then just go through all the bands on here and pull it up and over. I know when I was planning to make this video, I kept reminding myself, make sure you do this and make sure you do that, and then I forget. So then the next one was grab and pull it over towards the center. So come back and we'll do this side of the perimeter bands. And then again we'll have this band wrong. So just pop that band out, stick your hook through all the bands, grab it, and just pull it through and put it on your hook. And loop that last one. Like that. And now I'm going to stick a hook in through this middle part here, and we'll, whoops, I lost part of my middle. Yikes. Well, my band came off of my S-clip, which is not a good thing. But we can still save it. So, right there. That's why I don't like the clips. So there's got to be some fail. So when you're taking it off, make sure that your S-clip or C-clip is secure. So now, this should have stayed on my clip here, but it didn't. So I'm going to stick it through the first half of the bracelet over here on this side, and I'm going to stick my hook through my middle part here that fell off, which should be your C-clip, and through the other end, like so. And now I can remove it. Like so. And now, normally, as long as your clip is stuck on here, I just take the bands and put them through the clip from all of the things we brought together. Like so. What a save. Pretty proud of myself there. Now, like I said, if you have the goofy bands, giving it a good stretch a few times, sometimes that helps them. A couple places here I kind of trapped them into the middle banding. I didn't loop through them, I just trapped them in there when I was doing the looping, so you just want to pull them back out. Like that. Give them a little twist so you get the round again, and you just do that for all of them. Most times when there's one band that's kind of out of whack, it's just because another part of the band is tight around the center. So it's pretty easy to fix. So you can get the round appearance. So that is my Dippy Dot bracelet. I hope that you like it, and that it's easier for you to do, so you can make your own length, so it'll fit around your wrist, and not just kind of relying on estimates of how long it is. But it's pretty good. You give it a good stretch. And it fits nice. So that's my tutorial for my Dippy Dot bracelet. I hope you liked it. I did give credit for my confetti, so don't yell at me for that. And I will have more tutorials for you very soon. Thank you for watching, and I definitely appreciate it.